Endurance sport has never seen anything like this. Teams of 2 racing every hour of every day for 3 months, non-stop around the world. The Barcelona World Race will head into the most dangerous and wild oceans on the planet, and will test sailing machines and human relationships to breaking point. Last time we saw 9 teams slip away from the Barcelona dockside. For those closest to the sailors, a day they've been dreading. At the Barcelona World Race start, French race favourite PRB sized the path through the spectator fleet, risked collision, but led the fleet away. Chased by Britain's Alex Thompson, who's diced with death in the Southern Ocean twice, and will soon be there again. One night into the race and 2 French teams grind to a halt. Viola Environment and Delta d'Or stay close to the shore, and it's the wrong decision. Others, including fiery Spanish skipper Guillermo Altadil and US Olympic gold medalist Jonathan McKee, stay offshore and head towards the Straits of Gibraltar at speed. PRB, the team that led from the start, lead the fleet to the narrow gap between Spain and Africa, but in the final miles are overtaken. With a week gone but 24,000 miles still to go, the leaders are the French-Irish combination on Paprec Virbac 2. As the fleet pops out from the narrow gap between Africa and Spain, each team goes out searching for the best winds to carry them south at speed. And the 2 French teams who are becalmed in the Mediterranean were amongst the first to find them. Delta d'Or and Viola Environment are locked in a high-speed duel, but in the same way the wind switched on, it switched off.
Here we are, at top speed, 1.6 knots. We've just broken our record from this morning.
In this part of the Atlantic, trade winds should be blowing hard, but they're not. Once again, Jeremy Bayot and Sidney Gavinier on Delta d'Or are being shadowed by their wily old adversaries on Viola Environment.
Et qui revoilà là-bas.
Look who's over there. Our friends. Jourdain and Elias. Look at those 2 old men. They're still there.
Incroyable.
Roland, or Bilou as he's universally known, is one of France's best and most experienced sailors. But it's his humour and good nature that sets him apart. His co-skipper, lifelong friend Jean-Luc, shares Bilou's anarchic humour. He's a hugely successful skipper in his own right, a master navigator, and a dab hand at creating some ingenious comedy clips on board.
It's very important to be with the people with a good spirit and smile, because for the morale it's very important.
When you take a bad option, you go to the west and the other boats goes to east, and yes, there's 100 miles behind, and it's difficult for the guy with who you share that.
And less than a mile behind Bilou and Jean-Luc, the relationship on board the all-Spanish entry of Mutra Madrilena is just as strong.
Hola, hello, I am Pachi, I am cameraman.
The Spanish pair of Javier Sanzo and Pachi Rivero have gone out on a limb and taken a very different route towards the Canaries.
There is my friend. Let's go that way. All the other boats are heading in the wrong direction.
Javier and Pachi are up against some of the best sailors in the sport. Their boat is tried and tested, but it's now 4 years old, and to stay in touch with the leaders will be a tall order.
I'm not looking forward to being behind the fleet from the beginning. That would really stink really bad. I mean, there's the best guys in the world here. It could be a possibility, but that's the worst thing that can happen. The weather, the cold, the wetness, this is part of the game. but that's something I don't think we prepare for.
Every mile gained or lost at this stage is vital, and Javier and Patxi are anxious to see if their daring move has paid off.
We are going to see our position. Let's see if we have done good or bad. It's bad.
Approaching the Canaries, Paprec Virbac are still leading the race. Ahead, the prospect of nearly 3 months on board together. The greatest test of this race may be one of human relationships. Getting on will be vital.
Are we mates, Jean-Pierre and I? Yes, absolutely. And I think the more we work together, the more we appreciate each other.
What made me decide to go for Damien is that I could spend some holidays with him.
I don't want to win the race, and I never want to see Jean-Pierre again. And I think I'd much prefer to come second or third and to be able to, work with Jean-Pierre again and enjoy his company.
The race up to the Canaries has been exhausting, and both Damien and Jean-Pierre have had very little sleep. Protecting their narrow lead will be stressful.
Arriving tonight at Canary Island. Damien is sleeping, probably a very tiring night to come, so good sleep.
7 in the morning on day 10, Damien and Jean-Pierre on Paprec Virbac are first through the Canaries race gate, and with a building breeze, they speed south. Damien Foxall has raced around the world 6 times, but this time has left behind a wife and child he won't see for 3 months.
We had a baby 5 months ago. I was at sea. I was at sea delivering the boat back from New Zealand when our first baby was born, Oceanic.
Damien's wife, Susie-Anne, is originally from Quebec in Canada, and that's where she's gone with their son for the time that Damien's away.
It's been hard because with the little baby, because Damien doesn't see everything that is the new stuff that he's doing every day. That's probably the hardest thing. I find it sad for him that he's missing some stuff. But I try to send him as much picture as I can, but of course it's not the same as seeing him.
Of course, it's great to be able to phone home and just, how are things going, and everything's going well here. And I think the important is to not use it as a crutch. I don't think either of us plan to sort of be calling up twice a day for 3 months.
4 times a day, every day, the teams receive satellite positions of where their rivals are. And on Paprec Virbac, new father Damien and skipper Jean-Pierre Dick cannot shake off second-place PRB. The race favourites are just 2 hours behind. The French team of Vincent Rieux and Seb Josse on board PRB have been tracking Paprec Virbac move by move ever since they entered the Atlantic. For the 10 million people who visit the Canary Islands each year, this is a place to stop and unwind. For the Barcelona World Race teams, the island's high volcanic mountains can blanket the wind, potentially a place for them to stop and be wound up. Since the race start, French teams of Delta d'Or and Viola Environment have enjoyed and endured shared experiences. And it's time for another one. The mountains of the Canaries are blocking the wind, and they're becalmed. Knowing others over the horizon are heading towards them at speed. British skipper Alex Thompson is leading one of the teams catching up fast. Having slipped to 8th, Hugo Boss looked to have made a bad move by heading west. But now, while others are becalmed, Alex Thompson is on a charge, and the Holiday Islands are not slowing him down. It's an upbeat British skipper who speaks to race control in Barcelona via satellite.
When we spoke to you yesterday, you weren't that thrilled with where you were that far out west. We got up this morning and suddenly you're to 3rd place. You've got a couple more boats behind you.
Yeah, we had a shocking day the night before, a shocking day yesterday, and we had a wicked night. So yeah, we're pretty happy.
Alex selected his co-skipper Andrew Cape because of his skill as a navigator. To win a round the world race often means sailing more miles to find more wind is better than just sailing the shortest route. It's hard to get two people to agree over map reading in a car. With no roads to follow, trying to get the route right at sea can lead to major fallouts.
When you make tactical decisions, you've got to have a consensus. Because we don't want to be pointing fingers at each other, that'd be ridiculous.
Capable do the majority of the primary navigating. Anything risky or, you know, we think we should take a flyer, it's a joint decision, you know. But ultimately the decision rests with me, really.
Smart navigating has pulled the British skipper up the ranks. Ahead, this team have another trick up their sleeve that will get them on the news. But they won't be the only team to make headlines. There's trouble ahead. It takes 3 hours to fly from Barcelona to the Canary Islands. It's taken 10 days by sail for the teams in the Barcelona World Race. The lack of wind around the islands has stopped some teams in their tracks, whilst leaders Paprec Virbac shot past, chased by race favourites PRB. Each two-person team is now plotting the fastest route south towards the equator and then onto the Southern Ocean. Western Sahara. The searing heat here sucks in air from the ocean, creating a breeze close to shore. Some of the teams are just a few miles from here, looking for that wind. But the most sparsely populated country on Earth does not deliver wind. But amazingly, the first human contact for 11 days. Delta d'Or has company.
We've got some visitors. Shame we haven't got any wind. We're sailing around the world, and then we're going back to Barcelona. Oh, thank you. Got any cigarettes? No. Chocolate?
Whiskey.
No whiskey?
Whiskey.
The fishermen want whiskey. Delta d'Or needs wind in its sails.
Where's the wind? Shall we go there? Thank you. Goodbye.
On board Temenos, Swiss skipper Dominic Varve and his partner for 10 years, Michel Parra, are at the back of the pack heading down the coast. But not every team is following this course. Veolia Environment go out alone and head west. They're sailing a longer route to the teams closer to the shore, but they're looking to reach stronger winds first. Within 24 hours, it seems their audacious move has paid off. They make miles on the leaders and move from 6th to 3rd.
It was really difficult to take as a decision, but exciting to do it. If we want to win, we have to attack. We have to find some solutions. So we try to do it with our little arms and our little heads.
On board Estrella Dam, co-skipper Jonathan McKee is on the way to fulfilling one of his life's ambitions. He's won Olympic gold for the USA, but he's never sailed around the world before.
To sail in a race like this around the world without stopping, and to be able to sail a boat like this, you know, that's really at the cutting edge, is a fantastic opportunity.
Estrella Dam left the Mediterranean 3rd, but they've now slipped down the fleet to 2nd from last. In one of Jonathan's emails from on board, he explains their frustrations.
We are continuing to get hammered here on the race course. We've been outside of a huge shift, and the result has not been pretty. We're not sailing the boat too badly now, but the navigation is the overriding factor at the moment. It has been rich get richer, and we are poor. We just need to keep doing the best we can, wait for the others to make a mistake.
On day 12, the leading boats, Paprec Virbac and PRB, at last pick up the trade winds and head off downwind at speed.
We are good. We have good speed, and we are leading the Barcelona World Race with Damien Foxall at the helm.
But lying in wait, the doldrums, a moving band of breathless air that can trap a sailing boat for days. As Jonathan McKee on board Estrella Dam describes, the conditions here can be soul-destroying.
I must say this has been one of the hardest 3 days of my life. I have never been 500 miles behind anyone. Now we have lost complete touch, not just with the leaders, but with the group in front of us. So we have nobody to race against except ourselves. Only intermittent periods of good sailing breeze to allow us to escape this hell on earth.
Not everyone suffers in the same way. British boat Hugo Boss is out of the doldrums glue. In 24 hours, she steadily closes the gap with the boat in front, Delta Door. The skipper, with something of a reputation for pushing hard, is going faster than any other boat in the race.
Reputations are good and bad things, and a reputation doesn't necessarily conform to what it's like in real life. You know, I'm going to sail the boat the way I normally sail the boat, and that's it, really.
The fleet is plunging towards the Southern Ocean, the most formidable ocean on Earth. A terrifying prospect for most who go to sea, intimidating for every sailor. On board second-place PRB, Seb Joss is returning for the 4th time.
The South Ocean is quite easy to explain. There's no light because there's too much cloud. It's between 10 and 0 degrees Celsius. You never can be dry. You wet all the time. The waves, it's 10 meters minimum and can go to 20 meters.
The 5 skippers who've not yet experienced this place know the next 6 weeks will push them to new limits.
I sailed a lot, but never in the big south. I'm not looking forward for if something happens with the boat, like a collision or something really bad. But we know it's part of the play.
While some teams are on the verge of the Southern Ocean, others, like Estrella Dam, are some way off. It's been a much better few days for them, but as Jonathan McKee's email explains, good fortune was short-lived.
Early this morning, we're ripping along at 18 knots. There was a loud cracking sound from the transom. Sure enough, the leeward rudder had popped up, indicating it had hit something in the water. We assessed the damage, and we phoned our technical support team for their advice. It's pretty horrendous now, 35 knots and big waves. So we'll cross our fingers and carry on through the night.
Day 27 at the Barcelona race control, and there's some breaking news from British skipper Alex Thompson.
We, in the last few minutes, we just broke 500 miles in 24 hours.
The skipper, with a reputation for pushing hard, has set a new world sailing speed record. The previous holder, the man himself, Alex Thompson. 500 miles, equivalent to London to Monaco, by wind power alone, in 24 hours. Hugo Boss is now up to 3rd place and chasing the leading duo, Paprec Virbac, now just behind PRB. Vincent Riou and Seb Joss, the team that crossed the start line first, are leading again. But the further south they go, the tougher life will get.
We are here in the 40s. It's cold. We don't have much wind yet, but in 48 hours there's a lot of wind coming. Then we will start to push towards New Zealand.
But New Zealand was never going to be in reach of PRB. Day 28, Barcelona race headquarters received some shocking news.
The news that we have had this PRV have broken the mast. This happened at about 9:45 this morning.
We heard some crack on the mast. First time we don't think it's the mast, we think we broke the sail or maybe the halyard, but after a few seconds Vincent looked outside and he said it's a top mast and it's gone.
With no option but to retire from the race, PRB limps towards Cape Town, 600 miles to the north.
This morning, big drama. Some mast broke and we are now heading home. The race is over. It's a major disappointment. All we can show you is what's left of the mast. We say goodbye for now.
It's part of this sport. It's nothing special. I think it's 9 boats on the start. We know it's maybe 3 or 4 boats arrive, and it's same for all the laps around the world. The Volvo Ocean Race, Vendée Globe Challenge, Barcelona World Race. That's part of the story.
Racing between Antarctica and South Africa, Jeremy Bayou knows his first ever Southern Ocean gale is chasing Delta d'Or and about to hit. The weather is already changing.
It's gold.
On Estrella Dam, their makeshift repairs to their rudders are holding. But as Jonathan McKee's email to race control explains, they've taken a tough decision.
The breeze picked up again late Sunday morning as the low approached. Then disaster struck as the port rudder popped up and instantly sheared to the side with that ominous sound of splintering carbon. This was going to require more facilities than we had on board, and it seemed prudent to get it sorted out before heading into the most isolated stretch of ocean on Earth. So we made the decision to head to Cape Town, 630 miles to the northeast. This was a very difficult thing for me to concede, as we were no longer going to complete the course without stopping.
"16 hours later, off Cape Town. The shore team have flown from Europe. Their aim to get this team back in the race.
Well, we've had a number of issues on the way, and most of them we've been able to solve and continue to race and race hard. So we were pretty happy with that, and that's always our goal, to keep going and, you know, come what may, to make it around the course.
The next morning, after an intense night of repairs, there are still some big decisions to make.
I think Jonathan's got a very different outlook on Guillermo to the decision-making process. Jonathan's never done a round the world race before. He's keen to complete a lap of the planet and get that under his belt. Guillermo's been around the world 6 times before, and for him, this was all about being a competitive.
The first time I did the Around the World race, I want to finish even the rowing. So it's the sensation. When you start one of these races, you want to finish, but the race is a race, and we are here for racing, and our rivals, they are 2,000 miles in front. So you have a meeting now, and we will decide in base of this meeting what's going to be the next step. We will see.
Whilst others are battling in open ocean, the future of this team's race is being decided behind closed doors. Next time on the Barcelona World Race, the Southern Ocean lives up to its fearsome reputation. A super-fast ocean powerboat has a part to play. And British skipper Alex Thompson heads for the place where a year before he was fighting for his life.